got this manual tensioner from Billy's Speed Shop, so that's going to replace that, and hopefully we'll stop pushing off the top of the belts, because there's a fair bit of play. I'll see if I can show the play on it. Hopefully it will show up. And there it is in place. So it's got little standoff spaces to put it back in the original position. So it looks pretty cool, but at least it's manual. So hopefully that will sort the problem. And it's just been manually tensioned using a 1/2" wrench on the back. But it may need some Loctite at some point. We'll keep an eye on it. Some new parts for the MX5 just came in. Got a one-way check valve, which I'm going to take the spring out of and make into a rollover valve. So the new breather and rollover valve will actually be down inside this rear, but we'll put a pipe on there into that rollover valve, which I'll take apart in a second, and then we'll get it all installed. So this is a -8 one-way check valve. You can blow in one side and it blows through fine, blow in the other way and it locks up. And they're quite a simple system. All there are is a valve with a seal and a spring. That's it. So you can push through one way, not the other way. If you take that spring out, so you could potentially use that for your brakes, your vacuum on your brake servo. So if you take that out, then you've just got the sliding. Let me see if we can do it. It'll breathe for the tank, and also when it rolls over, it'll fully seal. So this will go straight into the tank. We've got the -10 fitting converted to -8, and then a one-way check valve with the spring removed, which will now be a full breather. This down here will be, this was the original breather, and you can see there, obviously I've got the blanking plug and -6 fitting. That we're going to take that out, we're going to weld this in, and this will actually, the reason we've gone for this setup and not just welding it up is so we can actually check the fuel level. So if we've got any fuel pressure problems or fuel issues, because we've had quite a few, we can actually just check to make sure there is enough fuel in there, because currently we have nothing to tell us how much fuel we've got in. So I'm going to put this in now. Hopefully that bit section's done. Radiator cap should be here tomorrow. The Stant one hasn't got the top seal, and you can see here that we've added the expansion tank. So when this system expands, because the level is so close to this level, we're basically keeping this full constantly instead of having this as a header tank. It still is a header tank, but obviously we're going to use it completely full, and any expansion will go down to that expansion tank. So we need the rubber seal not only on the inner part, we need it on the outer part to make sure that it's got a vacuum and can pull it back in when it cools down. So I thought it was a white line, but it's actually a SuperPro with links as well. So I'll just grab that out. Okay, so it's just the bar and the bushes actually. So we're obviously still waiting for the adjustable links. It's 3-hole positions, that's pretty good. Let's just check the stock one. So this one is 11 millimeters. Sure, this is going to be 15 or 16 mil. Should all be good. At least we've got polyurethane bushes. I do prefer rose joints or spherical bearings. Nice split bushes. Okay, and they've got the knurling inside. If we can focus, you fuck. Knurling inside, so lubricant actually stays in there for a little bit longer. They do need to be lubricated periodically though, as lubrication comes out, and then we'll start to wear the tube or the bush. So we're just waiting for the links now, and I'll get this anti-roll bar on today. And there's the anti-roll bar installed using the stock mounts. As you can see, it's pushed some of the lubricant out, and I put very little in there. Requires very little. Normally the pack will probably service it 3 times. You can see how much resistance there is on the anti-roll bar. It's literally very, very minimal. And that's what we want. The least amount of possible resistance on that so it can actually do its job. Just taking off the parts for the MX5. This is the top pipe with the steam port, I think, which goes on there. And we've got the take-off plate for the fuel system, fuel tank. The breather that was in here, as I showed you, didn't work, so we've potentially got two options that we can cap so we can actually dipstick the fuel tank. This is a weld-on male with a female cap and the female with a male bolt through it. This is probably the better of the two because it's got rubber seal on it, so we can just hand tighten it. Where this obviously does need a little tweak. It's just that I think it's a 45 something or taper in the seat. And for the steam pipe, we need a breather. We need a bleed. So we've got a -3 weld-on male and then the cap to go on top. Probably just stick that just there. And the new radiator cap, double sealed, so we can actually run a proper vacuum system on it using the expansion tank down there. Thanks to Pro Alloy, that one. No one else seemed to even understand what I was saying, so that's pretty incredible. And I ran quite a few Motorsport bespoke radiator companies. So that's that Dash AN3 fitting welded in with a cap to help us bleed the coolant system. And the fuel takeoff is all back together now, and we've got that -6 bunged fitting in there so we can hopefully check the fuel level, or at least check where it roughly is. Just lowered the rear ride height back to what it should be as we raised it for the track day, because obviously the heavy cornering, really loading it up without an anti-roll bar, was dropping one side, and we got black flag for that, wankers. So this is now the rear geo, obviously dialed out the camber. It's quite excessive toe, but that's because of how much toe change there is on the rear end, how soft the suspension is. Basically at about 15 mil of compression, we lose about, I think, 5 or 10 minutes. So yeah, it's a lot. So hopefully when this is loaded right up, the camber will go up slightly, maybe 1.5 to nearly 2 degrees, and then the toe will drop out. It's just a test. We might need to be at 0.5 degree rear camber for this particular setup and how soft it is. Front geo, we'll run it like that. Obviously take some data from the car, see how it's turning and how balanced it is and things, but looks pretty good. Bracket made up for the nitrous now, sits on the cylinder head, and obviously a nice short path. Along with the nitrous, we'd already upgraded the plugs. We've gone a heat range higher, so I think the stock plugs are a 5 on these. We've gone up to a 6, just for the nitrous sake. Obviously, we're running this off, on, off, on, off, on. It's not like a quarter mile where you're running it for sort of 10 seconds flat out. This will just be only at basically full throttle, 95% throttle. The nitrous might come on. Most likely just 100% throttle, so it's not going to cause huge amounts of heat. So around the back, it looks a bit of a mess because nothing's tied up really, but I've just looped the spare hose or line that goes round to the nitrous bottle. I've released pressure, so it all seems good, so we just need to do the wiring now. So this down here is the arm nitrous, and this is actually the ECU switch for the nitrous. And we're just about to do a test. This is the one that's going to go into the ECU and ground switch. A few T-pieces on this now. Hopefully we'll be able to tidy a lot of this up, but this is a T-piece for the nitrous. Runs around under the throttle body, feeds the fuel solenoid, and the nitrous itself with the lines for the solenoids straight into the car. Nitrous obviously runs directly to the back.
Fuck ton of fuel. Fuck ton of fuel. Shit in the bed.
I've added in the Formula knock detection system, so we're going to run this, especially as we're running nitrous now. I want to keep an eye on things. Obviously no knock issues before, but this will obviously let us know how the car is running. Hopefully keep an eye on it, as there's no knock on the ECU currently. Thanks for watching, guys. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos, subscribe, hit that bell and get the notifications. You can also check us out on Facebook. The link's going to be in the description. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.